Welcome, 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 everyone, to the Improvly Speaking podcast. I'm your host, Dayna Gowan, and I'm so excited that you're joining today for a very special episode. Today, we are focusing on all things improv, and I mean all things improv. Did you know that there is an improv convention, aka ImprovCon, happening in August in San Diego this year in 2026? Did you know that? Did you know that was happening? It is happening. This is the first year of ImprovCon. The lineup looks incredible. Oh my gosh, that many amazing improvisers at one convention. Whoa. And our guest today is the brains behind this incredible event and idea. And I'm so excited to chat and learn more. And I will just say, when we got on, I was like, don't ask any questions ahead of time. Just wait for the recording. Just wait for the recording. So I have not asked any of these questions ahead of time. Like, I'm hearing them with you. So I'm so excited that you get to hear about ImprovCon too. Before we jump into it, if you're new here, welcome. Let me tell you the goals of this podcast, which are 1, to help people understand the benefits of improvisation and applied improvisation. 2, to demonstrate how improv shows up in all aspects of our lives, because it does. And 3, to inspire you to try new things, get out of your heads and judgment zones, and find creative outlets and passions, maybe like improv, that can help you. And actually, there's a bonus 4th goal of today, which is to convince you and everyone to attend ImprovCon. Spoiler alert, I will be there. I'm going. And I would love to see you there. It's going to be an amazing time. So let me introduce you to our special guest here to tell us all about ImprovCon and how that became a thing. And I can't wait to tell you about Chris Jazz Colthurst. Chris, also known as Jazz in the improv world, since there are so many Chris's. Chris Jazz Colthurst is based in San Diego, California. He is the founder and executive producer of ImprovCon. Yes, yay. He has spent more than 25 years immersed in improvisational theater as a student, performer, teacher, and community builder. His improv journey began with San Diego Theater Sports, and over the years, he continued his training with National Comedy Theater and Bats Improv in San Francisco. He has performed on multiple indie teams at Finest City Improv, most notably Husky, widely regarded by themselves as the sexiest improv team in San Diego. Yes, that had to be read in the bio. That is very important. The Husky team needed you to know that. After the pandemic, Jazz joined the newly formed Mockingbird Improv as a performer and teacher, and now serves on the theater's board of directors. Outside the improv world, Jazz has spent decades designing and supporting infrastructure for large-scale internet sites, including time at Comic-Con International. It was during that experience that the idea for ImprovCon was born, a convention dedicated to celebrating and advancing the entire improv ecosystem. Please welcome to the stage, Chris Jazz Colthurst. Welcome,
Yay.
Chris. Yay!
It's just an honor to be here and to spend time with you today. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I was just so excited reading your bio, having you on, because I want to chat and get to all the questions. This is the first time that we're meeting online, but we will see each other at ImprovCon, and I'm so excited.
Yes.
I will be sure to give you a hug if you're accepting hugs, but I know you'll be very busy then. And Chris, I know I mentioned it in the bio, but you go by Jazz. So where does your Jazz nickname come from? I'm so curious.
Long story short, it was an email address that I had in college because a previous email alias was taken. So I just chose my favorite basketball team. And then the first company that I worked for, when I applied through email, they all went by their hacker names. So they just started calling me Jazz at work. So it was really a work name to begin with. And then when I was part of San Diego Theater Sports, there were 2 other Chris's in the group. And I'm like, well, just call me by my work nickname. And that's where Jazz came from. So it's based off of the Utah Jazz which is another long story why that's my favorite basketball team from San Diego and the like. But yeah, that's where the name comes from. And it's worked because of the parallels between improvisation, theatrical, and music. But I'm not a musician. I don't claim to be a musician or anything like that. But it's a fun nickname that's stuck over the years.
I love it. Yeah, I saw that. I was like, do I call you Chris or Jazz or whatever? So I love that story behind the nickname too.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, tell us about your improv journey. I read a little bit in the bio, and that's just a little glimpse. But how and why did you get into improv 25 years ago?
25 years ago, I was up in LA visiting an ex-girlfriend and her boyfriend.
There's a story behind that too.
I know that's a whole other story. Still friends to this day, but they're like, you need to come with us to a comedy sports show. So they took me to LA Comedy Sports, and I was just awestruck in terms of the performance, the fun. And I realized watching that show, that's something I wanted to do. That's something I wanted to have in my life. It was my type of fun working with other people. And it was just a fun, playful experience. So when I came back to San Diego after that trip, I signed up for classes at National Comedy Theater and San Diego Theater Sports. And I was taking improv classes 2 days a week. And I was watching improv shows 2 days a week. So it was like 4 out of the 7 days I was doing improv for a good 3 years. I immersed myself into it fully. And it was just a great experience for me. But that's where it started.
Yeah, I think that's sometimes the general path that like you just immerse yourself in improv. You're like, how can I take all of the classes? I want to do all the things. And suddenly your whole calendar and schedule is improv. And you have to be like, wait, I need a day off from improv. But do I want a day off? I guess so.
I mean, it is a note I give current students is you need to give yourself time out. You need to have something to draw from to do improv. Yeah. We don't want to see improv scenes about doing improv. So make yourself a full individual, have another hobby, have another interests, go see other types of entertainment, music and theater. We need things to draw from. So we need to be full individuals.
Yes, agreed. And I get it. And yet there's such temptation to just do all of it all at once. So, okay, that's how you got started. Just fell in love with it off the bat. Why have you stayed in improv all these years? And maybe it was like an off and on journey, but what's kept you in it all these years?
It became part of my social circle, my friends for 25 years. At the times, that's where I found my best man. She did improv. And I'm working with people today. The person doing all the production design, Trenton Shine, for ImprovCon was my first improv teacher. And there was the social network associated with it. And when our theater shut down in 2007, two of my friends made a pivot to stand-up comedy. And then we took a little break from improv, doing that for a little bit, while there wasn't necessarily a theater in San Diego doing the style of improv that we liked to do. But then when Finest City opened, I think around 2012, 2013, they started doing independent shows with them and indie teams at that theater. And so it's just been something that I've gained a lot of knowledge from, learning a lot about myself. It's given me skills to be a better partner, now a better father. And then also specifically in my line of work, it's allowed me to be a better listener and thus a better communicator for doing technical sales versus, being just a techie behind the screen, but being able to communicate with companies, executives, explaining information to them in a way that they can relate to. So I've always saw myself as a bridge between the tech world and the people world, being able to be a manager of technical people, but also explain technical concepts to business leaders. So this has allowed me to pivot back and forth between those types of roles very well, because in a way, I never envisioned myself as a technical salesperson. I always envisioned myself as a technical therapist, where I'm listening to what people's needs are, what their stories are, and having that context of being able to relate with other people then allowed me to help meet their needs better versus just trying to force a sale on them.
Love that background. And I can relate not to the tech part, but I can relate to the better parent part. And yeah, I know that improv has made me a better parent. I'm only about 2 years into my parent journey, I guess, but I know it has made me a better parent. And and a better overall human too, I believe. So,
And if you want the juicy, scandalous stuff, and I'm not afraid to admit it, is being a first-time parent and having two kids kind of back to back. There was a point in time where I wasn't doing improv because I had this notion of being a perfect dad, and where I was putting a lot of time in trying to be there. I wasn't investing in myself anymore. And I let that build up a lot. And working with a therapist, what are things that you do for yourself for fun? I'm like, well, I used to do improv. Why don't you do improv anymore? I'm like, because okay. It's like,
yeah,
I need to do things for myself to be a better parent. I need to invest in me and making sure that I'm filling my bucket so that I can fill other people's buckets versus coming from a place of scarcity. So that was a little journey I did right before COVID, which I think helped me maintain my sanity through that time period.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you had little ones too during COVID. And I know, I get it. And I appreciate you sharing that too behind the scenes, because there's so much guilt too of I want to be there, I want to be present, and I also have to fill my own cup too. So it's a delicate balance with parenting. And I have other episodes on that, and I know we could go on tangents. But I do want to get to ImprovCon too. I can't wait to talk about this. Okay, I said it in the bio that the idea for ImprovCon was born from your experience working with Comic-Con International.
Yeah.
So give us the full story there. When did you first think of this ImprovCon idea? How did you envision it back then? Is that vision now looking like this vision, or is it completely different? Yeah, give us this whole story.
I myself wasn't like a big Comic-Conner. I have a lot of friends who are big Comic-Conners. The part of the story is like around 2017, my wife asked me to kind of step back from the job that I had that required me to travel a lot. So I pivoted to work for a local company, and honestly, it was like a trifecta of amazing things. It was San Diego based. It was doing DevOps work, which I was trained in and loved doing. And it was supporting the arts. So being able to do all three in a single company was like this perfect job, and allowed me to stay in San Diego. And then I learned more about, it's a nonprofit, which is interesting. It's a very large nonprofit, but it's a large nonprofit.
I didn't know that.
It was celebrating 50 years when I was there. It's probably now at 55 or 56 years of existence. But really, the story, the journey of what Comic-Con did for kind of this disfranchised group of people who loved comics, where it wasn't considered literature, it wasn't considered entertainment. It was just kind of considered this kind of slightly nerdy, slightly geeky art form that was kind of confined to isolation, where maybe you had a relationship with the individual comic book store, or your friends who you found in high school or whatever that liked reading, and you could talk to them. But it wasn't necessarily mainstream, and it wasn't necessarily the powerful juggernaut that it is today in terms of Marvel movies and the acceptance of, hey, this is entertaining. Not only is it entertaining, but it also helps kids learn how to read. And it also allows people to tell stories of disfranchised communities and empowerment. And I was like, I know about a similar group. And it might not necessarily be as disenfranchised and the like, but it's kind of like improv has a little stigma tied to it. It's popularized like SNL skits or progressive commercials of it being kind of quirky. And what's that movie with the bear, Ted? Where they yell out things and they make fun of improvisers. It's kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the entertainment industry. But I know it's so much more than that. I know that it's so much more powerful than that. So that's where I just had the idea. And it really was just an idea. It was like a concept. And there was a period of time where I would like every week post like $1 million idea on social media or something, just all these ideas. And I just love spooking out ideas. So that's where the idea came from. And I didn't really envision it too much. I was just like, that I saw the parallels there. And I was like, what if we did something similar with improv? But I didn't know how to do it. I didn't it was just a big idea. And it was just kind of out there. It's like a fun idea that I have in the back of my head where I said, I had that idea or something like that.
Around what time was that idea, would you say? if
This
you can
was
remember.
around 2017, 2018.
Okay, yeah.
While I was working there.
Pre-pandemic, yeah.
Well, I just, because I learned about the history of Comic-Con more than it just being what it is today, and the journey that it took. And then fast forward, Comic-Con made some changes on what badging technical stack they used, which is fine. And so then I got a new job, did my 4 years at that job. It put me in a pretty good financial state to kind of semi-retire. And it was like, again, back to the kid things, my wife and I really talk about, designing our lives and putting intent behind what we do in our lives and having an impact. And so, a few years earlier, she quit her job as teaching, started her own company and went for it. And I was like, okay, well, now it's my turn. And like, what do I have? What do I have in the scrapbook? And just late night, I was, what technical geeky guys do sometimes is, besides Googling yourself, is just looking at domain registers and seeing that improvcon.com was available as a domain site. I'm like, this is a sign. This is a sign from the world that this is the big thing. And I was like, okay, what do I know? I have the experience of working on a large scale convention. I have contacts. And then that's where it started growing and brainstorming it with a few people. And then that idea from a few key contacts, a lot of fun serendipitous moments of a small idea to snowball. It just kind of kept it going. And really, it's more of a testament to the improv community and these, what I'm going to call pillars within the improv community, really getting behind the idea of being supportive of it and wanting to be a part of it, that then allowed connections to it. So at first I was like, oh, I need to call people's agents, or I need to call people and do a big, I knew that to make it happen, we needed to start with a differentiation of what the convention is, to differentiate it from festivals, and then also to put it on the map in terms of what it could be versus doing it. So, but it worked out in such that, through Mockingbird and knowing some people who've come and taught classes here, through relationships that my brother and his partner have up in LA and doing film work with them, that got us in contact with Jet Eveleth, who's just my favorite person in the world. I've told my wife that as well. But
Jet
is amazing.
I will follow her like a little puppy. It would follow her around.
I'm part of that cult. I'm part of her church of wonderful things. But she was just wonderful in terms of who do you need, who do you want, and who to reach out to. And so she provided a lot of connections to us. She vouched for us based off of works and connections that she has done work with my brother up in LA in the past. So my brother does video production work, Brendan Colthurst, and his partner, Ali Hart, who is a comedy producer up in LA. The three of us brainstorm these ideas and these concepts together, and they've been critical in the success of building this out. Ali produces comedy shows up in LA, has connections, but more importantly, she knows how to work with talent in those crucial negotiations and taking care of people. She's a people first producer, which has been very important in taking care of it. And the intent there, again, with Ali is putting together a representation of a broad range of viewpoints and communities within the improv world. And so that we have voices that speak to various geographic regions, social, economic, cultural backgrounds, and the like, to showcase the diversity of improv. And she's been a key driver in that initiative. But going back to it, we got a few people who were interested, and then that just kind of continued the snowball of other people being interested and working it. And then we were able to work with the Town and Country Resort here in San Diego, which is the home of another event called Tiki Oasis.
Oh, okay.
Which is just a fun celebration of Polynesian culture. It's a bunch of people drinking rum. I'll be honest, it's a bunch of people drinking rum for a few days, but it's a party atmosphere. And we wanted to kind of bring that celebration funness to, like, let's bring everyone together. Let's celebrate the art form and pat each other on the back. Like, we're doing good work in all these various parts of the country. Let's learn from each other, but let's also celebrate and advocate for what we're doing and show the world that improv is important. It's a foundational theatrical skill There's applications across academia to therapy to business education, and just really showcase it with a big bang of impact with it. And the thought, with that is that this would be a yearly event that invites all festivals, all theaters come together so we can all learn and make connections to make everyone else's theaters and festivals better versus just doing YouTube submissions and other things where you get to meet someone, you get to do a little taste of someone's workshop or hearing them speak at a panel or see their show and be like, you know what, I want to book them for my theater. And then on top of it, maybe even have a panel to show groups how to do a national tour, how to put it together, how to market it, how to promote the business so we can all learn from each other and grow and advocate for what this art form can be and give it the credit that it deserves.
Yeah. Okay, first, just round of applause for the idea and bringing the vision to light and to life. That is incredible. When did you initially start planning? You looked up the domain, it was available. Has it been like a year, 2 years? What's the planning process been like?
This was September of 25, where I was like, this is going to work. And then had initial brainstorming sessions. And then December, the kind of vision of what we'd been working for formalized, and we signed contracts and started moving forward on it. So it's honestly been just a few months of time. And a lot of people said, well, maybe you want to wait a year. And I'm like, I have the energy, I have the time, and I know we're going to make mistakes this first year too. That's something that we have kind of baked in, like into this, is like, we're going to learn from this year, and we're being upfront about it. We might make some mistakes of, are we overbooking things? Are we doing too much, or are we doing too little? Do we need to do different things? What I've told the team and I tell myself is right now we're just putting the scaffolding together of what a convention is. We're going to elicit feedback, or we're going to iterate, we're going to change, we're going to grow, learn from our mistakes, learn from our wins, and adapt and change over time from it as well. Yeah.
I feel like that's a very good improv mindset going into it. We're not waiting till we're perfect. We're not waiting till we have all of the answers. We have this idea, we're going with it. Mistakes will be made, will be learned from. And also it will be a good time, and we'll make every year better moving forward. And I think that's so important to share. I'm so glad you said that, because, it can be like this event. I mean, this is not just a festival, an improv festival, which is a lot of work to begin with, putting on an improv festival. This is a convention. And yeah, you're dreaming big here. And again, like recognizing that it's not going to be 100% perfect. And you will learn and grow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned the idea of ImprovCon being a place for theaters and people to come together to see people's acts and see, people that they could book for their own festivals and stuff. Is that your vision for the audience, or who would you say the audience is for ImprovCon? Is it theaters, or is it improv nerds? Improv enthusiasts, the general public? Who do you hope attends ImprovCon?
All the above, but we're kind of taking a perspective of being true to the improv community, the core. We could call them the improv geeks or the improv nerds or just the improv enthusiasts is the PC term that we like to use. And then spreading out. We wanted to make sure that we had that fanatic fan base of people who are enthusiasts of improv, making sure that their core needs of being entertained, but also being educated as well as networking are met, and then expanding out from there. So we're expanding kind of into applied improv space, therapeutical space, and then we're also expanding into fandom. And we think that circle, that feedback loop is important in such that to make improv better, because we do want to advance the art form, that we need to get feedback from general public, like what's working, what's not working. We also want to have a reciprocal relationship with applied improv and therapeutical improv, because like things that we're dealing with at Mockingbird and the like is, how do we how do we educate better? Like we have core improv skills and we know that's important and valuable, but how do we reach students that might be struggling? Or how do we deal with neurodiversity within our student population? And so maybe we'll teach applied improv folks maybe a new short form game or a new concept of approaching premise-based long form. But they might come to the convention and teach us a way to structure a curriculum that addresses the needs of shy students or students with anxiety or students that are on the spectrum of autism, so that we can learn and grow from each other. And I think there's a lot of givings back and forth between the two. But at the same time, celebrate the universality of improv. One of the fun things I've been able to do, and why I love doing this and gives me the energy and strength, is having beautiful conversations like this with people. So I go through wormholes or tangents a lot, but one of the great conversations I had building this was with Dan O'Connor from Improv Theater in Los Angeles, who was Improv Theater was like the big brother of San Diego Theater Sports. So because Improv was Los Angeles Theater Sports, and then Bay Area Theater Sports is BATS. So this California Theater Sports kind of had a relationship, but we always saw LA because they were LA as the big deal things versus our little scrappy San Diego. He's been doing a lot of traveling this last few years and working with other improv theaters versus just theater sports and kind of the Keith Johnstone world of improv. And he's a big advocate of and the celebration of improv, just based off of the universality of it. Whether or not you're doing narrative or you're doing short form or you're doing a UCB montage style, genre-based, there are still some core concepts and universality in improv. While we're just making things up and there's not necessarily any golden rules, making your scene partner look good, accepting, dealing with mistakes, having a positive approach in terms of the actors with each other and that sense of collaboration, where those types of concepts transverse, I think, the whole community and bring us all together. And that's what we should be celebrating. And then also celebrate the diversity of the different styles. And maybe there's ways we can learn from each other versus kind of just being isolated. It's like, oh, I only do this style or I only do this format. It's like, oh, I can become a better long form if I learn this boldness technique that's being done in short form from the comedy sports world. I think there's always opportunities to grow versus being kind of pigeonholed in, oh, I only do this one theater, or I only do this one style.
I love that. Yeah, just expanding out, because there's a lot of improvisers who are like, I only do long form, I don't like short form. And then there's some, it's like short form versus long form versus, oh, you go and do corporate improv,
Right.
Maybe it's not judgmental. Maybe it is. I don't know. But yeah, it's like, yeah.
And I'm guilty of it. I'll be the first one to admit I'm guilty of it. But I always come back like admitting my mistakes. And then there was always these gotcha moments like, oh, I just learned something from that. Yep. I'm a hypocrite, but I'm okay with that.
I love the celebration of all improv styles is essentially, I'm summarizing what you just said, is celebration of all improv styles and taking a chance on them and seeing like how each style can help you and benefit you in your improv journey too. Yeah. I love that. Chris, I know you mentioned Jet getting on board and really helping to spread the word. And I wanted to add to that. I learned about ImprovCon, I believe in February or March. The call for proposals was out for like workshops and panels and shows and teams and such. And Brian James O'Connell, BOC, messaged me. Yeah, BOC, thank you. He messaged me on Instagram and he was like, hey, you're the improv conference convention lady. This is for you. And I looked it up. I saw the website and I was like, what in the Fire Festival thing is this? Are we making improv really mainstream? Yes, we can make it more mainstream, but like, is this corporatized? Who's behind this? What is this? I will admit, I was very standoffish at first. I was like, what is this? And I saw the lineup and I saw the names. I saw Jet, I saw TJ and Dave, I saw BOC on there. And I think I asked him, who's behind this? Are you trusting of it? And he was like, yes, Chris seems like a good guy. Chris is a good guy. I think it's going to be good. And, also some hesitation, right? It's the first year, but I think this is worth looking into, basically.
Yeah.
But I think you all have done a good job since February, March of putting things out there, of the diversity, of the different sessions and stuff. So I don't know if anyone still has that thought, but what would you say to anyone who has some concerns or that like, this is making improv too mainstream or too corporatized? I don't know. What are your thoughts with all that?
Yeah. First, shout outs to BOC. We had probably the most intense conversation about ImprovCon when I approached him about it. And with this true Irish fire, he's been, we asked people for critical feedback, and he's been wonderful in giving it to us. And so God bless him for all that. And he questioned a lot of the things that you said. And when we have an idea, it's like we have the perspective of how we think about it versus how the outside world, and there's that disconnect of not being able to have an hour conversation with everybody, but we get these podcasts and other exposures to do it now.
Yes.
But, in terms of short, brief marketing messages, it's not there. The intent of the convention is to serve the improv community. And so that's where we put the first and foremost into our decision-making pillars. And it's an S Corp. It's my S Corp. It's a company. I'm hoping to make money off of it eventually, but I'm also putting a big upfront investment.
Yeah, understandable.
I'm going to be very frank. This isn't a nonprofit, but it is something that might take a year or two to realize returns. But I feel like to serve the improv community authentically, we need to make sure that we're making our decisions based off of who our customer is, who our attendees are, and working back from that viewpoint. It's something I learned at Amazon, but I take what I need from different places that I've worked and learned from. But I just love the backwards approach to building something and working backwards from the customer experience, the attendee experience. So while we are looking for sponsors and we're looking for that, we wanted to make sure that we always had autonomy to make this a convention that serves that community and allows them to showcase the various viewpoints. Again, Ali working on the diversity of viewpoints, and then us making sure that education, panels, and kind of just a lot of fun tied to it. Will we do like a corporate panel in a year or two? Maybe, but it's not going to be at the expense of the convention. It will be something where the sponsors that we're looking for, the partnerships we're looking for, is to showcase the art form. So if there's a comedy show that wants to do a premiere panel, or a movie that wants to have that Avengers type of panel discussion, we'd be all for it. But we'll always make sure that it ties back to improv and the art form and how it was used in the production of that. I think there's a lot of stories there. And whether it's, corporate entertainment, I think that people want to hear those stories and would be enthralled to hear about it. And it just gives more validation to all the work that the rest of us are doing, because I know that people use improv on movie sets, and we're going to have people talking about it. I know that people use it on television shows. So I'm not going to exclude them just because they're corporate, but we're always going to make sure that there's a tie back and an appreciation of the art form of what we're doing here.
That would be so cool to have a panel of actors and also on the scenes workers who use improv, and they came from improv backgrounds. Now they're acting and they're in this big movie, but hearing like how they've used improv, that would be really cool. And I said corporate as corporate entertainment, or I would say more like gimmicky. And as you all have put out more stuff and seeing everyone else jump on board, don't have that gimmicky concern anymore. And especially now hearing you talk, I'm like, oh yeah, no, the intent is to serve the improv community. Like you said, this is for improvisers. I would love for the general public to maybe get pulled into it by a friend, an improv friend, like come along with me. That would be cool. And I think eventually maybe you'll have those really big, star celebrity names that might draw in the general public too, but that's another decision on how big a scale you make it.
We've had people approach us who've wanted to come to ImprovCon and be a part of it, but our intent, especially for this first year, was heart. And so working with people who are still doing improv and still people who love the art form was very important to us, versus just getting a named celebrity that might have done improv in the past and filling it out with teachers, Shuli Cohen and BOC and David Rosowski, who they live improv and they love improv, and you can just feel it with every interaction with them. That's the foundation that we wanted to build this convention with, is those people putting in the time, who've done the reps, who have paid their dues and are still doing it because they love the art form. That's what we want to showcase here more than anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, love it. Chris, let's take a break.
Sure.
I know I threw that Fire Festival one at you. I felt a little harsh, but I just want to tell you where I was coming from a few months ago.
No worries. We're all going to be sleeping in tents in Mission Valley.
Not exactly islands. Like, you know what? We would all be in San Diego. Not the worst thing to happen. But yeah, let's take a break and we'll come back. I have more questions for you. So we'll be right back. All right, and we're back talking with Chris Jazz Colthurst all about ImprovCon and the ins and outs, the behind the scenes, and I'm just loving this conversation. I love this big dream vision turned actual reality. It is happening in August, and I'm so excited. And Chris, thanks for sharing, just behind the scenes too, because I get a lot of the ads. I will say I get a lot of emails and ads about ImprovCon, and you see the ads and you see that it's happening, but people just don't know the behind the scenes work that's going into it and all the time and effort. And so I'm so appreciative that you all are doing it.
Yeah. I mean, I would share all the spreadsheets, but it has personal identifying information on it. We're trying to keep that thing, but we have multiple Google Sheets and multiple databases and a lot of tooling for all the, contracts and agreement forms and processes, flows and the like. And those are always fun. And then we'll have an app coming out soon that will be a communication channel as well for people to communicate with each other, on top of whether people create social media groups and the like to do more informal conversations as well. But yeah, there's a lot of things in the background to put this convention together, on top of, contracts with the venue, talents, and a few surprises that we have up our sleeves as well. Yeah.
Ooh, surprises. Okay. Well, so I just got a recent email from ImprovCon that said there will be 100 shows, 128 workshops, which, spoiler, but not spoiler, by the time this comes out, the schedule will be released. But I am one of those workshops. Yay!
Yeah.
There will be an Improvly Speaking workshop at ImprovCon for all those applied improv enthusiasts. And I just had to throw that in there. But 128 workshops, 45 panels, and that is all within 3.5 days of performances, learning, connection, and play. So my question first, okay, that sounds amazing. But my question is how? How is that all going to happen in 3.5 days? That's so many things going on.
Yeah. So the team and I, we between myself and people like Ruddy Jamison and Keith Foster, Corey Bryn, Matt Messerman, these are San Diego improvisers who also I brought onto the team because they are also Comic-Con nerds. No offense to any of them. Ruddy's more of an improv nerd than anything, but we had a big conversation about this of like, how big and how many do we want to have? And we appropriated from the Comic-Con models, like, you will not be able to do everything except for a few key things. And you'll make choices, which then means you'll come back next year or you'll talk about it with your friends. You're like, okay, you go do this panel, you go do this show, to promote that community aspect of it. But the people have varying ideas. Some people want to, work on character development. Some people might want to work on public speaking. Some people might want to learn about how to use improv in their classroom. So there's not a one size fits all experience. It might be my mom coming and just wanting to watch some shows. It might be my friend Jen, who's an educator, taking a class on how to use improv to teach writing in classroom. Those all experiences are valid, and there's a diversity, and we want to celebrate that, but empower people to make their own choices of what to do versus cookie cutter them all through one funnel. Like, oh, you're going to take this workshop, and that's it.
Right. Like specific tracks kind of thing.
And the big thing for us was letting people choose their own destiny, their own experiences, but just provide a lot of options for them to do. And so that's what we have, the big venue and we had the space. And so we wanted to invite this, and I hope the messaging came across, like, performers are coming not just to perform, they're coming to be part of the community. People doing workshops aren't just coming, doing their workshop and leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Is there opportunity for them to take someone else's workshop? It's their chance to see a show from a group that might be in a different part of the country, or be part of a discussion in a panel on a topic that they might be interested in about and learning from it. So having kind of a different types of experiences, or seeing karaoke, or doing a trivia night, or doing a workshop and then spending some time in the pool and just relaxing and maybe having a conversation over a drink at night, or listening to music, where we have Trey Magtini from Ninja Sex Party coming, who's doing his smooth jazz persona there on that. So a little music, a little pool time. The emphasis isn't like FOMO of fear of missing out, unless you're not coming to the convention at all. Then you should have FOMO.
Right.
But the emphasis should be giving yourself time to enjoy the community in things that interest you. And we're going to have a few things like, that whole applied improv of like icebreakers. We're going to try to take that to a whole different level of what we can do with convention. I mean, just putting feelers out there, think world records of number of improvisers in a single space and things that we can do there. Those types of experiences is what we're looking for, more so than, I didn't get into so-and-so's workshop, but it's more like, but I got into this other work. There might be pleasant, like coming with it, that there's going to be pleasant surprises with it, because I'll just be the first one to say it. Not everyone's going to be able to take TJ and Dave's workshop. Like,
right.
You might have
limited
a better
capacity.
buy your passes sooner than later, but it'll be a land grab when those go on sale.
Those are going to go fast.
Those will go fast.
Those might be sold out by the time this episode comes out.
It might, exactly. But
yeah,
we're trying to put the messaging with the performers, the workshop facilitators, and them knowing like it's more than just them. They're not no one person's the main attraction here. The community is the emphasis. So coming with the mindset of meeting new people, forming connections, and really that's what a convention should be doing. So instead of having dispersed theaters all over San Diego, we wanted to have it one location. We wanted to have those atoms bouncing off. Like, we're like, hey, I just saw your show. Where did you get that idea from? What are you working on? How's your theater performing? What ticketing system are you using for your theater? What social media management tool are you using? Whose podcast are you going to be on? Those types of conversations. Yeah, exactly.
Improvly speaking.
That's what we want to form, so that, hey, you meet someone new, someone from North Carolina, meet someone from Seattle, someone from New York, meet someone from Los Angeles that they haven't met, someone from Chicago, meet someone from Austin. In my mind, my beautiful mind, I have all the strings. Like in a way,
imagine you with the chalkboard. You're like, okay,
chalkboard. I have a whole. This is a true crime reenactment podcast more than anything. We just want people to meet each other and see what's going on and realize that they're not alone. Like, grow from someone else, but realizing that it's not just about LA. It's not just about Chicago or New York. San Diego's pretty awesome. North Carolina is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's growing.
Gosh, tangent, but one of the conversations I had, I forget with who now, but we made some parallels between music and improv and language and improv, and how improv has grown out of potentially some of these epicenters, but then how it's been regionalized, and there's different styles of improv now that are happening in different places based off whether it's cultural things or just the people who moved to different places or who traveled where to learn. So there's not a homogenization in improv. Like, it's not just people doing styles. And I think that diversity in the viewpoint of like people in Seattle are doing amazing things. Like, I talk about them a lot, but unexpected connections up there is great. There's great improv in Oakland as well as San Francisco, and there's differences there. San Diego, again, is awesome. We are tooting our own horn a little bit because we want to get the local community there, but it's the art form. It's part of our culture, and learning from that, I think, will make us all fuller improvisers and showcase to the world, like, this is an art form that has mass, it has value, and it's been vital to quality works of entertainment over the last century of existence, and just really celebrating it. And I mentioned the U.S. a little bit. We are focusing on the U.S. a lot. We do have people coming international. It has been a little political. We have a lot of Canadian improvisers not wanting to come to the U.S. as well. And then there's work visa issues that are for other things that have been difficult. And we're not overtly advertising this, but also giving a homage and talking about and maybe revitalizing a little bit of the social activism of improv and the history of social work and making strong political statements through artistic mediums. We're not necessarily shying away from it too much. We're not necessarily, that's not the main, we're going to have fun at the same time, but
right.
homage to what are the roots are, and having conversations about what we can do as a movement, as a community, to showcase arts funding, which is an issue that we're dealing with here in San Diego, but then also just social justice and how we can use the art form to retell stories and reframe people's viewpoints of their experiences as an improv as an empowerment tool more than anything.
Yes. Okay. I've got a few things here from what you just said. I love the support of empowerment and just how improv can help us better our skills for better empowerment and activism. I love all that. And also when you were saying that the regional differences of music and language and improv, I was laughing because I've been in North Carolina almost a year, like 10 months now. We moved from LA to North Carolina, and my mind immediately went to barbecue and the regional differences of barbecue.
Yeah.
Very similar to improv, right? North Carolina is like mustard based, I think. And anyway, so everybody has their different versions of barbecue, improv, accents, language, music, and improv is similar too.
It is.
I do want to mention a concern I saw. I'm in a ton of Facebook improv groups, right? And I casually scroll Facebook just to see what everyone's saying. And I saw one that someone said that they're concerned that there will be more passes than seats sold. And I'm not sure exactly their thinking, but what I thought with it is like, I've never been to ImprovCon, but it looks massive. It looks, yeah, it looks huge. It looks like there's a lot of waiting in lines too. And, and I assume, the headlining shows will have some lines to get in, or like you said, you won't be able to do everything. In the applied improv world, they use the phrase certainty of missing out, or COMO. There will be a certainty of missing out. So anyway, how do you plan to address the worry or concern that there'll be more passes than seats for everybody?
Yeah. So the event's happening at the Town and Country Convention Center, our resort here in San Diego, which is the former San Diego Convention Center. So we have capacity of multiple grand ballrooms at our disposal that can support 2,000 people in them.
Wow.
What we've done, a great design element that we put in, Trenton put in, who's our design production person, is that during the day, the theater for the main stage the seating will be split in half. So during the day, when there's multiple shows happen, we'll be kind of cut in half to give it a more intimate feeling of supporting 500 to 800 people while there's other workshops and panels happening, so that you don't have that grand experience. And then what we're calling our prime time performers, which are in the evening, when there's not conflicting things with the shows that potentially we believe that everyone wants to see, is that we then open up that space to 1,000 more seats, so that it does have the ability. That's when we'll have the lavalier mics and the full stage production behind those performances with the whole AV team associated there with it. So our biggest hurdle of this is trying to make those ballrooms, those convention center things that might have, a public speaker or a corporate speaker talking it, trying to make those look intimate and feel like a theater. Yeah. And we're doing some fun things with lighting and other things to kind of give it that intimate feeling without investing too much into it. And to be frankly honest, and right now with ticket sales and everything, we are on the other side of that continuum where we're looking to fill seats versus turn people away. But the capacity does support, 2,000 people, and we will not oversubscribe that. We're hoping to get anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500 people at the convention being part of it, but we are not there yet. So we would appreciate people still coming, and being part of it and buying tickets. I think it's going to be a great event that we will not oversell those shows and the like. And if the case that you are concerned, and that's the main reason you're coming, and it's like your lifelong dream to see one of these teams perform, we also have a patron pass, which is a little bit more money, but then it gives you a fast pass line access for on-site registration, as well as for the to get into the venue. So if that's all you came from, that's all you care about, that's your single focus, you can buy that pass, and they'll put you in the front of the theater for that show on that side of things.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that. My thing was like, there's going to be a lot of lines, but yeah, I appreciate that insight. And also, I feel like improv shows don't get mic'd up enough, especially like at bigger venues. And so, of course, like in a huge convention space, yes, you will have to use the lav mics for people. But I just feel like in the improv world, like we don't mic up in improv shows, and that'll be a nice change of pace for our headliners to be mic'd up and to get heard too.
Yeah. I mean, one of the groups we have who's kind of closing out the show for us is one of my favorite improv groups. They're Improv Theater. And they do full theatrical productions. They have lighting designers, and they use venues that have full lighting versus kind of the improv, just lights up, lights down experience. They have improvised tech people who do lighting. We're not necessarily going to give them what they deserve in terms of a full theater lighting experience, but we are bringing in an AV team to give us some more creative lighting choices for the productions on the main stage. So that's more than just lights up, lights down. We'll be able to do some colors and other things. Still in the works of the specifics of that, but the AV team will be taking care of that main stage for us. And then we'll have smaller lighting rates on the side stages that we plan to have as well.
Nice. Is the whole town and country resort, is it the idea it's going to be all improvisers, or will there be like families swimming in the pool and like, what are all these improv people doing here?
Yeah, it depends on the numbers. Right now we have the full resort. So while there will be, hopefully my family will be there. We have free child passes. So for every paying adult, there's two child passes. We have classes for kids. We have classes for teens. And we'll have shows that are family friendly and things. So comedy sports is coming. We will have a improvised puppet show, family friendly, and a bunch of shows during the day will be family friendly so that the kids can come watch if they're not taking a class.
That's so
cool.
We'll
also have a lot of workshops and things for educators to come and learn about how using improv for different various things in classes, whether it's teaching theater or other skill sets.
Amazing. Yes. And I love it. And I will say we're recording this in early June, and it'll come out in a few weeks. Like I'm fast tracking this one so that way it comes out with enough time before the actual event, August 20th to 23rd. And so I want to say that right now you said ticket sales are low, but you're about to release the schedule. I don't know. I feel like tickets are coming. People are coming. They'll make the choice to come.
It is ramping up. The last few days have been they've been ticking up, and we're very optimistic about what's going on in this. And we're forging relationships with people as well, like a lot of the education institutions in San Diego, a lot of theaters in San Diego, and inviting them to come and then be part of this as well, so that they can learn about improv that they might not have seen or experienced before.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Okay. Chris, I want to do an exercise, a little visualization exercise with you. I do this with my public speaking clients when they have a big talk or speech coming up, and I basically ask them, what if it all goes well? But okay, visualization for you. It's August 24th, 2026. ImprovCon just wrapped up, and it was amazing. Everything went so well. What does that look like for you? Describe the feelings that people had, the feedback you're hearing and receiving. What does that look like to you that it all went well?
Yeah, I think hearing those stories, hearing that, oh, I've met this person and that I've been looking for someone to do a workshop on this for my theater, or general public, like I never thought improv could be that good. The experiencing like that just blew my mind that it was a full theatrical production that was Broadway ready, even though it was improvised with the skill sets of the performances we have there. I also hope that people have fun, that they met a friend, that they had an epiphany during a workshop, during the experience. But that they spent some time for themselves, that they spent some time at the pool, and they just had a great time at one of the social functions we had as well. That that it was like, I felt part of this community and showcasing while it's not perfect, just the nature of improvisers as being some of the best people on earth. That, wow, this is a community of people who love what they do and have a general appreciation of other people and caring about other people, and realizing that strength and that power, that they're part of a community that's bigger than just them or their regional experiences with the art form. And so that they feel boldened to do something new and try something, or maybe do some more traveling and explore those experiences on their own. That's what I wanted after year one. After year 2 or 3, I have some other goals, but that'll be for next year's podcast.
Yes, next year's podcast. We'll have a part 2. And I say that a lot, but we really will have a part 2. And we'll talk about year 1 versus year 2 and the differences and stuff. Oh, yes.
We do have an internal bet. That's why I was slow playing it. We do have an internal bet with the team of what year the first marriage proposal will happen at ImprovCon.
Oh my gosh. Wait,
my
does that happen? Does that happen at Comic-Con?
It does, yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So mine's year 2. I'll just put it out there because I'm the one who gets to speak at these podcasts. So if anyone's interested, don't do it this year. Wait till next year.
Right. That's funny. I love that you probably have several little things there just behind the scenes. Speaking of the team, I'm so curious. I want to give you some time to shout out the behind the scenes team that's been helping you, the collaborative efforts. I'm such a dreamer. I can say yes and to all kinds of ideas. I'm like, yes and that would be so great. I am such an improviser. And yet then making dreams and ideas and plans a reality, like actual logistics and implementation, I am learning that I struggle with that now. And go figure, right? But
I'm going to pause you right there because it's something that I do with people.
Yeah.
You're making my dream come true right now by being on a podcast.
Yes.
You facilitate workshops. You've been in this and you've been doing it. So I'm not going to let you talk like that about yourself. So sorry. You're a friend of mine, and I don't let my friends talk bad about my friends. So you're doing wonderful, amazing things. And I'm giving you a lot of credit for that.
Thank you. You know what? I needed to hear that today. With my business hat on, it never feels like you're doing enough, being enough, getting enough visibility out there. And you know what? I really appreciate that pep talk. Thank you, friend.
You betcha.
I appreciate that. And I imagine you have to give some pep talks to the team. The team has to give pep talks to you.
Oh, yes.
Too. Yeah. And here's a chance to shout out your team too, the collaborative efforts behind the scenes and people we might not see on the website and people we do see on the website who are helping with this effort.
So my 2 main buds, Reddy Jameson, his improviser here in San Diego. And during COVID, he just immersed himself. He was on deployment, but had some time, and he was doing improv for multiple hours a day when he had days off. And he was doing it from Europe to Asia. I used a derogatory term to describe him to Jeff Michalski, and Jeff corrected me and said he's not an improv blank person who sells themselves for sex. He's an improv journeyman. Right. So I corrected myself. I said, I apologize. Reddy took improv classes online with so many people and forged so many connections during COVID that when he started announcing, he kind of went a little AWOL or crazy and just started posting in every group about ImprovCon. And we didn't have any marketing behind it or solid messaging behind it. He was like, ImprovCon, you got to come and da-da-da-da. And he was just messaging people and the like. And it was great because it got the word out there. But then we had people messaging like, what's this ImprovCon thing? And it was like a lot of unknownness around it. Messaging is important and it's hard, but his guerrilla tactics, and he's my bud. We're in an improv group together, the 2 of us. It's a great group. The 2 of us, we do a duo. I do puppets. He does David Rosowski style improv, and we do it together, and it's a beautiful thing.
Oh, wow.
I think Avenue Q meets David Rosowski, Viewpoints Improv, and then imagine the audience being confused of what to expect. And long story short, I love the guy. He's amazing. And so he collated lists and lists of people that we reached out to and was brought in some amazing people. Another person, Keith Foster, who has been in San Diego for over 10 years, but came from Idaho, and we worked together in Tonight in San Diego, which was a late night TV show here in San Diego. We wrote for the San Diego Film Awards together. He helped us reach out to people like Jonathan Pitts, who has been just vital in giving us mentorship of how to run a large-scale improv event on so many business, spiritual, emotional, and the like. He's just been a wonderful person. So Keith helped foster that. Marina Mastros, who from San Diego, started Side Stage Improv, which then evolved into Mockingbird, which is a theater that I'm a part of. And now lives up in LA as part of the UCB scene in that stuff in Orange County. She reached out to a bunch of people, made connections with them in the LA scene with us. And so we did a movie together, 12 years ago with, I'm just going to call it out. Marina was in a movie with me. My brother Brendan directed it. Giovanni, who's part of Dropout, was in the movie. As well as Jeff Allen, who was the season 1 winner of Beast Games and won $10 million. We have this movie together. Anyway, so I've known Marina for a long time. I just wanted to get shout out by that movie. I don't think I'm supposed to talk about it because I don't think they want people knowing about it, but who cares?
Right.
Marina made connections to Savvy Fest for us, Improv City, a lot of We Theater and Light, and vouched for us as well. BC, grilled me. I did a workshop with him and we had a conversation. He questioned even the economics of this, and I had to prove to him what we were doing and how we were doing it. So that was the great brotherly love. I like to say, like, a lot of people said yes, but I love that he was critical about it because he was critical out of love, which was amazing.
Yeah.
With that, Jet, amazing. Our social media team, and I'm working backwards a little bit. John Barton, Lisa, Andres, and Marina also as well. They're putting out these fun, quirky videos as images.
Yes.
Kind of, we're trying different things like images, videos, highlights, like what resonates with people. We all made the decision that we wanted to go big first because it was a first year. We didn't want to slow play what we had at our disposal. And Billy, we wanted to start big, which now is, okay, what do we talk about now later on? Hopefully this week we'll have the schedule of all the other teams coming to promote them. Anyway, they've just been amazing, like giving us, like, as volunteers for this, they've just given us like a professional quality of help and love with it. Trenton Shine, again, he was the artistic director of San Diego Theater Sports. He moved up to Portland 2007, 2008, but has moved back to San Diego, and he's helping with production design. He just has an eye that I don't have in terms of style and a production value on that. I'm more of a logistics person, so having someone with a style eye and design has been very helpful. Who else am I missing?
You have a big team of help and volunteers and boots on the ground, efforts too going on.
Yeah. My friend Dusty did the logo for us.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a fun experiment. Like, I'm a big visual person, and he put up with me, I guess is the best way to put it. The design has
your baby.
But the design, baby. Like the logo, like, meant so much to me at the beginning. And it's like, my wife's, you're spending too much time thinking about the logo. I'm like, well, the logo to me is everything, like that brand and the messaging behind it, like it being an empty speech bubble and kind of a retro San Diego vibe to it. But that also giving the ability to showcase others. Like, we're just the circle. What's inside the circle is the improv community, and that's what's important. We're just kind of framing it in this event for them.
Wait, I'm looking at, I didn't think of all that, but that is amazing.
Yeah.
I
and
love
then
that
Jessica
vision.
Abbott. So one of the introductions I got from Marina was with the team in Savvy Fest, which is a beautiful improv story in itself. The collection of theaters in Phoenix who come together. They have a group called the Collective, and they perform at there's 4 theaters in like that Phoenix Mesa area, Scottsdale, and they come together and do the Savvy Fest together. It's just a beautiful story about, to me, theaters in a city working together and supporting each other. And so the Savvy Fest is there, and they just have what I consider the coolest website in improv.
Oh, yay.
So Jessica Abbott helped us kind of taking a lot of the graphics that Dusty made and making icons and making a website flow that works for us. And her work is amazing on that side. So there's just been a lot of people who, like, yeah, this is cool. I want to be a part of it. And
Yes.
it's been just like so serendipitous, so like fulfilling of people wanting to be part of something. Being like, a lot of people are like, improv needs something like this. This is something
Yeah.
that's important for us as improvisers to showcase what we're doing, to connect with other people, even, COVID or not. It wasn't done before COVID, but it was just kind of like, I think people realize that connection's important in face-to-face things. And while I'm not, dissing any online, we're online right now. There is a
It's
value of
tough.
live theater.
Online's
There is
so
a value
tough.
of a live workshop. There is a value of having an extended conversation with somebody late into the night or sharing a meal with them. And so we're hoping
Yeah.
to provide those types of connections that kind of are have a little bit more meat on them. I don't know if that's the right word, but more substance, more value.
Oh, amazing. And I will say, shout out to your social media team because I really am impressed by the graphics they're putting out there. One of the recent ones was a contest to name the mascot too. I was like, oh, that's genius. That's so fun too, to
Yeah.
get people involved and excited about it. It's a little pelican, and people had lots of ideas.
Yeah, that was fun. The Pelican came out of an idea with when we were creating the icon. We were like, well, do we have a mascot? And we went back for it. And then one of the media came in with Dusty came with the Pelican for one of the posters. And we're like, we got to name it. And the whole
Yes.
team started naming it. And I think the teams have their favorites, but let's just open it to the community, let them define what it is. Yeah. Well, that's
Yeah.
been fun. And there might be a pelican roaming around the convention floor.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing too. So many pictures will be taken with the pelican mascot. Yes, whatever its name will be. I think I saw one was like yes Andy, and there was lots of great ideas in the comments of that post too. I was like, oh, giving improvisers a task to name something, you'll get some good ideas from it.
Someone had the
Uh,
pelican face or something like that. Like that,
yeah,
maybe it was like, yes, we've made it.
right. That was my suggestion, was Birdie McBirdface. Yeah.
That was you. Okay. So
I was
you
like,
have my favorite.
we're all thinking it. I'm just going to post it. And I had to look that up. I was like, when was that first Bodie McBoatface? I think it was like 2016. It's
Yeah.
been 10 years of Bodie McBoatface, and that joke still lives on.
Still does. It's good.
It's a good joke. Yeah.
Thank you. So thank you for that. That literally made my day the day I read that.
Yes. Okay. On a scale of 1 to 100, how excited are you for ImprovCon?
The way I like to phrase it, and I'll answer your question after, but the thing that came to my mind when people ask me about it is that I have 100% energy tied to ImprovCon. Like it is engulfed like 24 hours of my day. I wake up in the middle of the night and I think about ImprovCon, about something that like I need to do, or something that would make the experience better, or something that I forgot to do. So it's 100% of my like energy outside of, family and a few teaching things that I have, or for a few performances that I do to keep myself sane in all of
Right.
this.
Yeah.
So when I say energy, it's an encompassment of excitement, nervousness, panic, pure joy, love, fulfillment, and the like there. So just like I try to teach my improv students, is that you want to go through all the emotions. I'm actually going through all the emotions of real life. These are the conversations we have as improvisers of trying to discern a scene versus real life. I'm guilty of it, but I am excited about every conversation I have with people about it, every post about it, and every feedback I get from it is it's just people, all right, this is awesome. And it just fills my heart that I am able to take part in something that I think is going to define our art form and help elevate it. My self-imposed superpower is letting other people show their superpowers. And this is something that I've done with movies and productions that I've been a part of in the past, and it's at a different scale, but it just fills my heart that people are like, yeah, we're performing, or yeah, we're attending, or yeah, we got a hotel room. Yeah, this is going to be fun. And it's just like, yes, that's great. And it drives me even more to give more to the convention. Like, yeah, we're going to get the good lighting system. Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun things going on to it. So it gets me through these spreadsheets and these scheduling nightmares of who does what and who has a show at the same time as their panel. How do I move people in mass to what they hold? It's a fun game of Tetris at that point versus it being a nightmare that it could be.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot of logistics too. Performers and workshop leaders and facilitators, that's
And telling people like, hey, slow down a little bit. Like, hey, we're going to limit the number of workshops or we're going to limit the number of performances because we want you to also enjoy yourself. So, and that making those tough decisions for them, forcing fun on the other people.
Well, you've put a lot on the line here, like energetically, emotionally, financially too. You've put a lot on the line to this yes and idea. And I can imagine that it is consuming all of your time and energy, and that you have little kids too, or younger kids that also need energy. So you're doing all the things, but it's really cool to see you taking this dream from just like, it would be cool, like a little $1 million idea post. It would be cool if we did ImprovCon. And you're like, oh, it's happening.
It's happening.
2026, it's happening. I have chills. That's amazing.
Yeah. There was a moment in December where we signed the contract, or I signed the contract as ImprovCon because the S Corporation came through. So I was able to sign things as a legal entity for the town and country. And it's not a small contract, but we did it as a family. So my wife and my 2 kids, we were all here together and we hugged each other. We're going for it. And we mentioned earlier about, filling my own bucket with improv so that I could be a better father. Also, like taking this risk of putting this together and showcasing, and, we talk about it in improv a little bit about taking risks or, doing things on scenes. And I always make the snarky comment. It's like, it also applies in real life. Taking that risk, improv allowed me to do that. It allowed me to showcase like, hey, I'm 52 years old. Might be my confession that this is really my midlife crisis. But to me, I like to say that this is I have an opportunity to do something big and make a difference. And so why not do it? And do it because it's something that it's giving back to the art form that is giving me so much as well.
Beautifully said. And for me on my end, I just can't wait to go and lead the workshop, but just be a part of it. I've gone to 4 Camp Improv Utopias, camps, amazing. And that usually has 100 people at the West Coast ones that I go to. Mm-hmm. So when you say, the goal is 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000, I'm like, this is camp on mega steroids. Sure. This is going to be amazing. Like all the connections. I won't be able to have enough podcast guests, like enough time for people to come on as podcast guests for everyone I meet. It's going to be incredible.
Yeah. And I have to give love and credit and just admiration to Nick Armstrong as being one of the pillars of community and values and conviction within the improv. Like, and this definitely is borrowing from that spirit and those efforts that he put in and that his teams have put into those Utopia experiences. I'll say it now. We've kind of been saying it under our breath a little bit, but it's done in good spirit. One of the taglines we've used internally is that this is Club Med for improv. Unfortunately, a lot of the younger improvisers don't know what Club Med is, so that analogy doesn't make sense in terms of those inclusive resorts in the Mediterranean, the Caribbean during
Got
the 80s.
It. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But another tagline.
It sounded familiar, but yeah.
Another tagline we've used internally just for fun is that it's a Utopia camp, but without the dirt and more comfortable beds.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Nick has been an influence for me for many years, and I love the guy and just love what he's brought to the improv community and in sharing Utopia. Definitely we learned and just appreciate the community aspect that they brought. Nick's amazing. He's just been an amazing coach for me over the years. And yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know he'll appreciate hearing that. He's been a guest on this podcast as well. And 2 questions for you. And one's just the end, like, where can we find out more? But I've got one last question, just talking about camp. And camp is really a great advocate for diversity. And you've mentioned it a little bit in just the curating of workshops and performers that Allie was very mindful of diversity and diversity of ideas. And was that a big pillar of ImprovCon, is diversity? And I know in the improv world and in specific theaters, they focus on diversity. Was that a big focus for ImprovCon as well?
Yes, huge. So much so that, like relying on Allie and Marina and people on our team, curation teams, and putting together the diversity there was most of important. So much so that I realized that it was a weakness of mine. So I brought other people in that were better at it.
Yeah.
And early on, we were talking to some people, and shout out to Dayna Gowan. There were some conversations where we just had some initial names, and it was just because the person was excited about sharing the names. And Dayna's, that's pretty white and male. And we're like, oh no. We had to quickly follow up with him about the conversations we're having with people, but in letting him know that wasn't our intent. It was just the limited information he got at that limited point in time. But it was good that like we're surrounding ourselves with people who that's a value to, that we were getting that critical feedback, even though it was there. Like we asked for it, we got it, which was, to me, the beautiful thing in that situation is like the people weren't sugarcoating their feedback of what happens. But I don't want to sound like I'm name dropping, but I have former improviser friends from San Diego who are part of the Cheaties. And it's like getting them involved and having trans representation was important for us. Having the Improvineers come be part of the first improv group with Down syndrome showcasing.
Yes.
And there, again, I don't want to sound tokenism or anything like that. These are great, amazing improv groups.
Yes.
Just they kill and they hold their own, and they're entertaining. And so that we're at a point where there is diversity in improv, and so we wanted to showcase it. It wasn't like we were trying to do something like tokenism or anything like that. It was just like, no, we know there's great improv out there. We know there's 3P out there. We know that they're amazing. We know there's groups like Buenos Vibres out of Arizona and Over the Wall here in San Diego, Spanish-speaking improv groups coming and being part of it. And these shows will blow your mind. Like I don't speak Spanish very well, but being able to see the universality of improv cross language and how they express and emote themselves and tell stories and play with the fact that they know that most of the audience doesn't speak English. It's funny, it's moving, and it's like a showcase of talent. It blew me away. So that having groups like that be a part of it is great. Allie has spent decades putting together stand-up comedy shows in Los Angeles, and it's always been her, again, tied to social activism and comedy producing, two things that you don't see together too much, but it's been at the heart, which is also her last name, which is funny, of what she does with comedy, because I think we share this idea that comedy has an intrinsic value of being fun, but can also be a way to showcase a viewpoint and share knowledge and share stories that bring us together versus divide us. If we're laughing together, we're sharing stories. And then with improv, allowing people to share their own stories or own viewpoints or rewrite stories in their viewpoints based off of their background and history. It's just such a powerful, expressive art form that not only is there room, but there are people doing it all over the country, all over the world, that have wonderful, amazing stories to share that they just haven't made up yet.
Amazing. That was so beautifully said as well. We'll end the Q&A, the interview portion of that right there. I think that's an amazing way to end it. And now for everyone listening who hasn't Googled it yet or looked it up, where and how can our listeners find out more about you and also ImprovCon? Are you one and the same at this point now?
We're close to the point where ImprovCon is going to have more social media followers than myself after being on Instagram for multiple years in 6 months.
Yeah.
And they're about to bypass me, which is great.
Perfect. Yeah.
But yeah, we're improvcon.com. So www.improvcon.com.
Yes.
It just rolls off the tongue.
It sure does.
Or doesn't. Improvcon.com. We're on Instagram. We are on Facebook. Hopefully we'll get on Twitter sooner or later. Or not Twitter, TikTok.
Yeah. Who's on Twitter anymore?
Who's on Twitter? I don't know who's on Twitter.
Yeah.
We haven't come up with our dance moves to get on TikTok yet. We need to know what the ImprovCon dance is.
Ooh, needed an ImprovCon type of dance. Okay. Yeah.
So we'll put that out there. That might be one of our next contests for that. Yeah. And there might be some informal social media groups put out there. So if people are looking to find, travel partners or hotel partners or friends or figure out that way of crashing together and the like, we definitely encourage. Another thing I'll just put out there is we do have a scholarship there. We also have discounts for educators and military people. So if you're teaching in a K-12 or public university, there's a discount code, but we also have a scholarship. We used all the administrative fees for submissions, and the team decided to put those all into scholarships versus getting paid to do the curation. So we have scholarships available. So if anybody's like, hey, I'd love to be there, we want you to be there as well. Apply for a scholarship. We'd love to have people there. We want this to be inclusive, as many different viewpoints and groups to experience the power of what improv is. One of our partners, our social media partner, not social media partner, our social activism partner it's Improv here in San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
And they're a group that teaches improv to communities that might not be able to, that have not been exposed or not been afford taking classes. And they're doing wonderful. Gene and Skylar, they are doing wonderful works in San Diego. So we're going to be promoting them. And if people want to make donations, we're going to route them through It's Improv to help the work here in San Diego that they're doing to help spread improv to disenfranchised communities. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. And it's at Town and Country Resort, August 20th to 23rd.
Yeah.
And the schedule's probably out now by the time this comes out. And passes right now are $200 for the full pass and then $400, but I think that might go up, or the pricing goes up a little bit as it gets closer.
I mean, maybe we should, but we're not planning to. The prices should stay the same. We already did early bird a few weeks ago. That early bird closed, but we're really trying to, keep costs for people down. We understand the big thing with the hotel pass. If you get a hotel room, you can get a pass for $20. So we understand that a hotel travel, people are already putting a lot of money into this. So we're trying to make it economical. The $20 basically is the administrative cost of running a database and printing out badges and lanyards and other fun things like that. And we're hoping with it, people who are able to, by getting the patron pass and the other passes, will even out the spread. But this is really to get the improv community and fans of comedy together. And we understand that different people are in different situations. And our hope is that we can make it accommodating enough that we do have all folks come and be a part of this.
Yeah, so it's good to know you've got the community discount, even though there are no day passes, which I understand, you want people to embrace the whole event, not just come for one day and leave. So yeah, having that community discount is nice. Chris, it's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
Can't wait. I'm so excited. On a scale of 1 to 100, I am 1,000. I am so excited about this. It gives me a reason to come back to California. My time is limited. I can't stay a ton extra. But I'm like, I wish I could make it up to LA and see friends again. But I'll get to see a ton of improv friends from camp and friends from San Diego. So it's such a great excuse for me just to get back to Cali and San Diego and have a few days to myself too. Not planning to take my little one. So this is my vacation. This is my trip too.
Good.
This is my improv camp on steroids here.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to having you here. We're looking forward to having all the listeners join us. San Diego, if you haven't been, is an amazing place. The weather should be amazing. And we have a lot of fun things planned for everyone attending, not just improv stuff, but looking forward to just sharing really fun experiences with everybody.
I can't wait to have you on for part 2 follow-up. We'll do a year 1 follow-up and then year 2 planning. I'm all in. I'm so excited for you that this is happening. I'm so excited this is a thing. So, and I know this was a very long form media interview. You got grilled, you got asked all the questions about ImprovCon. If you're talking with a newspaper or something, it's a much shorter interview. So this was a very long form interview. So thanks for answering all the questions. Thanks for putting this out there. I'm so excited and I can't wait to see you in August. Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for having the platform for us to share our story as well. We really appreciate it. Yeah. I'll see you in a few months. I'm so excited. And everyone, you're hearing about this. Go buy your passes. All my improv friends, all my improv nerds, my improv enthusiasts, go buy your passes, and I'll see you at ImprovCon. Planning to stay the whole time and maybe hang out in the pool a few times, take a break from the improv stuff and go in the pool. But I'll see you there, and I'm so excited. And thank you for listening to today's episode with Chris Jazz Colthurst and talking all about ImprovCon. Can you tell that I'm so excited about it? Oh my gosh. I just can't believe that this is a thing. When I told him after we got off, I was like, thank you for putting ImprovCon on the map. Thank you for making ImprovCon a thing, because it's like camp, only on steroids. The idea of it sounds amazing. And I understand that in its first year, there will be some hiccups. There will be some things to learn and change for the next year. But the idea of it is incredible. And I know there were some hesitancies early on, especially maybe before they were able to market appropriately and also just get a clear messaging system, clear graphics and such. I know that there were some hesitancies. I had them too, hence why I asked them. And just seeing like all these names jump on board every week or even every few days, they're posting a new team that is coming to ImprovCon, and they're posting a new workshop and a new show. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the most amazing event. And if you're not an improviser, you'll be like, I'll go somewhere else for my vacation. But for me, and probably all my improv enthusiast listeners, this is heaven. This is improv heaven for us. And I just can't wait. I can't wait for August. I can't wait to do a follow-up episode, an ImprovCon follow-up. I have big dreams of meeting lots of new improvisers and improv friends and having them on the podcast, so much so that I won't have time to have everybody I meet on. I'm so excited to facilitate a workshop at ImprovCon. I will say I'm nervous about the uncertainty of it and how it's going to go. The workshop is called Improvly Speaking, Improv Skills to Make You a More Dynamic Speaker. And of course, I love it, and I think that is great. And I love talking about improv and public speaking. I have no idea how ImprovCon goers will take in Improvly Speaking. There is an extra charge to the workshop, basically so that I can break even on the travel costs, hopefully. That's the main reason for charging for that workshop, is so that way I can cover the cost of travel and being out there at ImprovCon. And so more than that, like not even the financial piece of it, like I want people to be in the workshop. I hope it is something that ImprovCon attendees are like, yes, I want to go to that. It's like, I've done improv, but I still get nervous at public speaking, and or, new to improv, or people who work in the community setting, seeing how improv can help with your public speaking skills. I believe that there's room for 35 attendees, so it is on the larger side of a normal workshop. Usually when you think of workshops or in improv workshops, it's on the smaller side, maybe like 20 at the max, so that people can get specific feedback and attention, while they're in the workshop. If it's such a big workshop, they might just feel like a number. And if you're paying extra, you might want a little bit of feedback that can help you in your growth. So 35 is a bigger workshop size, but it works really well for what we're going to be doing. We'll be breaking out into groups so you can play, and then we'll apply this to public speaking. And then at the end, there will be a chance to get up and speak in front of a group of 35 plus people. So I want to highlight a major theme here that we discussed throughout this episode is taking a risk too. And Chris is definitely taking a risk with this idea. And he has certainly curated an amazing team of individuals to help with this idea. And it seems like it is very well thought out, well planned, and well executed. At least it hasn't happened yet, but they're really trying to commit to the improv community, really trying to be intentional about the heart of the improv community. And I really respect that. And also, this is a big risk. I know financially, Chris is taking on the risk, right? Like he owns the business and, you have to commit to rooms and such. I don't know financially how much he's taken on, but I can assume that it is a financial investment that he is doing. And so you put it out there and hoping that ticket sales come in enough to break even. And then he said maybe in year 2, eventually come out ahead. I understand making a little profit. I understand the need to do that. He's putting in a lot of work. And so I want to highlight that improv skill of taking a risk, going for it, jumping in and taking the leap and letting the improv net catch you before you hit the ground. That was actually the title or similar title to Nick Armstrong's episode. And I love that Chris had a little nod to Nick because Nick has inspired a lot of people. And, just seeing ImprovCon happen, it really does feel like it's going to be camp on steroids, mega steroids. We're not out in nature. We're out by a pool and a hotel resort. So a little different there, but just being surrounded by hopefully 1,000+ improvisers sounds amazing. I'm just dreaming big and dreaming of August, and I am so excited. I can't wait. For me, I took a risk in submitting an application, which, you might be like, that's not that big a risk. Like all they can say is no and send a rejection. Sure. And that still feels really hard, right? I remember putting together the workshop application and I was like, this is ImprovCon. I was seeing all the big names come through. And I know on the website, they said that they would take applied improv workshops, but I figured they wouldn't take that many. And I'm not the biggest applied improviser, right? So it's who am I to speak at ImprovCon? Like I was having a lot of doubt. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to submit anyway. And I put a lot of time into the application. And I told myself that, again, the worst that can happen is they say no. The best thing that can come out of it is they say yes. And in between that is now I have a nice workshop title and description and objectives I can use for the next proposal that I submit. And it's funny, I haven't been calling my workshops Improvly Speaking, like my business name. One, because I'm like, do people know what that means? But I remember when I was working out and BOC sent me the message like, hey, you should apply for this. And I looked at the website. Instead of actually doing my workout, I was looking at the website. I was like, this sounds really cool. And that idea came to me while I was working out. I was like, oh, Improvly Speaking, improv skills to become a more engaging, dynamic speaker, something along those lines. So I actually ended up using that for the title of my workshop. And I'm so glad I applied because they said yes. There are 128 workshops. So I don't know how many applications they had. Maybe they had 128 and they were able to accept all of them. I don't know. I did not ask Chris that. But there are a lot of workshops there, and there's definitely certainty of missing out. You will not be able to attend all 128 workshops. You won't be able to attend all 100 shows. But I hope that if you're attending ImprovCon, you get to see and participate in everything that you're wanting to do. So with that, check out improvcon.com. Buy your passes. Let me know that you're coming. I would love to hear that you're coming. And then if the Improvly Speaking workshop is calling to you, sign up for that as well, because I would love to see you there. And I would love to have you in the workshop. And bigger than that, I would just love to meet you and chat and hug and take pictures and do all the things. Hang out in the pool, celebrate improv, have so much fun over that long weekend. It's going to be a blast. So let me know that you're coming. And if you're not able to attend ImprovCon this year, I hope you will consider going next year and the following years, because it sounds like this is going to be a regular thing, which is amazing. So check it out in the future. And I'm just putting this out there. If you're in the San Diego area and you've been listening for a while and you need a public speaking and improv workshop for your team, or a team building workshop, or a fundamental skills training, or psychological safety training, if you need any kind of trainings like that for your team, I will be in the San Diego area August 20th to 23rd, probably with a few days on each end of those. I haven't figured out my travel plans yet, but I will be in San Diego in late August. So I would love to come to your group and make that happen for you as well while I'm attending ImprovCon. That feels so hard to say. I hope that doesn't come off salesy or, I don't know, pushy or anything, but I'll be in San Diego or Southern California, I will say. I would love to go back up to LA and see all of my friends. I don't know if I'm able to swing it or not, but that would be amazing if I can. LA friends, I'm sorry if I don't get to see you this round, but I will be back at some point, hopefully for another speaking gig, putting that out there in the universe. Universe, are you listening? I'll take all of the California, Southern Cal, San Diego, LA gigs that are out there. Yes, let's make them happen. Thank you so much for listening. Reach out to me if you're coming to ImprovCon. I would love to hear from you. You can email me at dayna@improvlyspeaking.com. That's DAYNA at improvlyspeaking.com. I'm on Instagram at improvlyspeaking, and on LinkedIn, I'm at Dayna Gowan. Message me somewhere there and let me know that you're also going to ImprovCon, and we will chat and meet up when we're there. That would be amazing. Also, my website is improvlyspeaking.com. There is a contact button there. That would be the long route to reaching out to me, but I will also receive it that way. And I have put on my website an actual listing of my workshops, like a picture of the catalog that I have of my workshops. And I have like 15 different topics that I can present on. And so if you need a speaker for your work site or for your team or department, and you want to focus on any of those topics on my website, public speaking, team building, fundamental skills training, wellness and self-care, I got you. I probably have a topic for that. And I'm also happy to do customized titles, presentations specifically for your group. So with that, I want to encourage you to take a big risk, go for the risk that you've been thinking of, do the thing that you've been thinking about. And maybe it is $1 million big dream idea like Chris had, posted it online, like, wouldn't it be cool if this happened? And so maybe it doesn't happen right away, but don't let go of those dream big ideas. Make them happen. And how that vision plays out will be even bigger, better, and grander than you ever could have imagined. So take a risk, try something new. Maybe it's just submitting your idea for a festival, a conference, putting yourself out there a little bit. Maybe that's the risk. And maybe it's a bigger risk, like an ImprovCon type of risk. And maybe it's somewhere in between. Take that risk or take steps to taking that risk and go for it. Try it out. Say yes and to yourself and all your ideas and all the possibilities that could come. Can't wait to see you at ImprovCon. I'll see you soon. Here's your reminder to say yes and flex your creative thinking. See you at ImprovCon.